FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Societies that are wealthy enough that people have the leisure time and the intellectual training to be able to, spend the entire weekend, debating whether or not a particular type of train was, in existence in 1943 or 1944. You don't get that in a lot of parts of the world, right? People have much more pressing concerns than goofing around on Wikipedia all day. And we see this actually across the whole of the wiki world and the peer-produced text world in certain kinds of systemic bias in what kinds of topics are covered. So, but I think it's important because there are certain things that we can, I'll give an example. At Wikia we have the Muppet Wiki. The Muppet Wiki is everything you could possibly ever want to know about the Muppets. There's more than 15,000 articles about the Muppets, if you can imagine, right? There's only about 300 in Wikipedia, which is still a lot. Well, so what is this stuff? So the Muppet Wiki article on Itzhak Perlman, so the Wikipedia entry tells all about Itzhak Perlman, his career as a violinist, and where he went to school, and his biography growing up, everything you would typically want to know. In the Muppet Wiki, the article about him is all about the time he came on Sesame Street, which was back in the 80s. He made one or two appearances, I don't remember which. Well, there is no economic model whatsoever that would justify paying someone to write that, right? That's purely a community activity. That person is writing for their own joy and for the joy of their friends who are equally geeked out about the Muppets. There's essentially no way that you could hire anyone to write that. It makes no sense. Now, for some of the fat head type of stuff, rather than that long tail stuff, yes, you could hire people to write it. So you do get these kind of strange things where what's being written is it's not necessarily what you might consider to be the most important, but it's also unique. We're able to produce things. It's not just a replacement for what went before, but it's entirely new kinds of things that we haven't seen before. The real question for the long run, and this is one of the things I really focus a lot of my attention on, is what is necessary, what is going to be necessary to have a thriving, growing, perhaps small still, Wikipedia in Zulu, right? It's non-trivial. It's non-trivial for a lot of reasons that are much bigger than Wikipedia. But it's worth thinking about because, well, particularly for Wikipedia, it's our mission. Our mission is a free encyclopedia for everyone in their own language. And we're doing pretty good in English, French, German, Japanese, but we're doing very, very poorly in most African languages. We're actually starting to do pretty good in a lot of the languages of India, which corresponds directly to the growth of the IT sector in India and the fact that there are more and more people in India who have computers and access and so forth. So I think it's a really interesting question to think about. We now know how to produce a work like the Muppet Wiki, which is a totally new type of work that was never economically feasible before, but how can we produce something else that's never been economically feasible before, which is an encyclopedia in Zulu? And we don't really have that answer yet. And what kind of hybrid model can make it happen? I don't know yet.